Bob the Canadian. I'm just gonna do a little bit of an exposure change there. That's a little better. Well, hello, welcome to this live English lesson. I'm Bob the Canadian, and tonight I'm going to try and answer as many of your questions as possible. I just want to make sure everything is working. I haven't done a live English lesson from the farm for quite a while, actually. I'm just gonna do a little. Looks like everything is working, so welcome. I noticed there were a lot of people in the chat earlier. It was fun to be able to say hi to you and welcome to this lesson. The way the Saturday evening lesson works, if you have a question, Todd will be posting the link over there in the chat, and you can use that form to ask a question about the English language, and I will do my best to answer it. I have to apologize though, it's a little bit loud. I'm in the barn right now and it's raining outside. I hope that you can still hear me really, really well because it's kind of a rainy night. Actually, the rain is slowly starting to end, I think. So that will be quite handy for us this evening. Anyways, welcome to this live question and answer lesson about the English language. Again, if you have questions, there will be a link over there. I think Todd just posted it. You can follow that to the form, and I'm going to jump right into answering the first question. First question is from Nick. Thank you so much, Nick, for that question. Hi, Bob. Hi, Nick. When someone says, what makes you tick, what do they mean by that? So what makes you tick is what makes you excited about life. So maybe for someone, exercise really makes them tick. So exercise is something that when they do it, it is something that helps them enjoy life. I'm going to actually look this up as well, just to make sure we have an official definition. Something that motivates you. That's an excellent way to put it as well. So maybe what makes you tick is getting up for your coffee in the morning. Maybe that's something that makes you tick. So anything that makes you excited or motivated for the day is what makes you tick. Next question is from Lolly. By the way, sometimes when I do live lessons, people ask if it's really live. This is really live. I'm going to show you why, or I'll prove it to you. I'm going to say hello to Sif Adneen, Mariah Borges, Free 99 English, Sean is here. Hi, Sean. Jorge Luis Perdraz is here. Hello. Carlos Eduardo is here. Hello to everyone in the chat. You are in a live English lesson. But here's the next question from Lolly Lolly. Hi, Bob. Hi, Lolly Lolly. I am still there and I am always there. Please, what is the difference? So let's say Jen calls me and I'm at work and she says, oh, are you still at work? I would say, yeah, I'm still there. Or I'm still here. Actually, I would say I'm still here. If you say you're always somewhere, it means that you're there. I'm always at work during the day. But in one particular instance, if Jen called me and said, are you on your way home? And I could say, no, I'm still at work. It means that on that particular moment, I am still there. Off to a good start here. Lots of questions pouring in. The next question is from Doreen from Taiwan. Hello, Doreen. And the question is when to use when and when to use while. Could you give some examples to explain? Thank you. So when I do a live stream, I like to drink tea. While I'm doing a live stream, I like to drink tea. So in that instance, I gave you two examples where when and while mean the same thing. But the word when itself refers to specific moments in time as well. So you could say, when I go to work, I drive my car. In that case, you could not use the word while to replace when. So I can say, when I do my live stream, I like to drink tea. Thank you to all the countries that produce tea. Or I could say, while I do my live stream, I like to drink tea. So some subtleties there. A couple of examples, hopefully that helps a little bit. Here's a good one from Ulysses. What's the difference between have and there is and there are? For example, the correct speaking of this phrase, there is an apple on the table. It's on the table. Or have an apple on the table. That's interesting. We would say there is a remote control on the table. You could also say, I have a remote control on the table. Or you could say it's important to have a remote control on the table. A little bit of a weird discrepancy or difference there, but that's kind of how I would explain that one. About there is versus there are, there's a funny thing in English. If I was to say there are a lot of kids, put that in the chat. I also say this, lot of kids. My second sentence is technically a little bit incorrect to say there's a lot of kids. But anyways, English is weird. We all know that. Let me see here. I'm going to clean up my questions for a moment here. Let's see here. Doreen from Taiwan, next question. Doreen says, hi Bob, I have a question. Where should I put the just? It was basically just up a gazillion stairs, or it was just basically up a gazillion stairs. So we throw the word just in to a lot of places in a sentence, and most of them are correct. So what's another example here? I just started my live stream. So in that case, the word just has to go in front of started. But if I was to say, I just have a few lights up, or I have just a few lights up, I can flip it around in the sentence a little bit. I think you just need to listen to a lot of example sentences with the word just in it, but it is kind of a filler word in English. It does indicate time sometimes, but I just like to have some tea, or I like to have some tea mean the same thing. I threw the word just in just for fun, I guess. Let's see here. Oh, this is always a tricky one to explain. Flavio says, hey Bob, I'm Flavio from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Hello, Flavio. How do I use even though and though? Love your videos. So even though I don't know how to answer this, I will try. So there was an example right there of how to use even though. And in that sense, I mean, in spite of the fact, or knowing that I don't know how to explain it, I can say even though. So even though I talk for 1 hour during my live streams, I don't lose my voice. But the word though works a little bit differently. If I was to say, I like to drink tea during my live stream though, because it helps keep my throat nice and working, I guess, is the good word for it. I hope I'm making sense tonight. I feel like I haven't done this kind of live lesson for almost a month, and I feel like I'm a little bit out of my groove. Do you know what that phrase is? When you're out of your groove, you're not used to doing something. So I'll try to slow down a bit and explain things as best as possible. Jorge has the next question. Jorge Luis says, how do I get more fluent speaking English? Notice the small correction there. How do I get more fluent while speaking English would probably be a good way to say it. And again, it's really, Jorge, it's just about practice. You need to read a lot. You need to increase your vocabulary. And it's important to split up things. You need to listen a lot. You need to speak a lot. You need to read a lot. You need to write a lot. I tend to say these things over and over again, so I hope I'm not boring anyone else who is watching. But try to do these 5 things. Learn a lot of vocabulary, read, write, listen, speak, and try to do them every day. That is the best way to get more fluent. Let's see here. Kania has the next question, and that question is, hi Bob, I hope you are well. I am. I have a little bit of a sore throat still. It just won't go away. I don't know why. I have learned a lot with you. Thank you. I'm glad that you are learning a lot. What is the difference between type and kind? So there's different types of gloves, and there's different kinds of gloves. Notice I added an S on kind. So this is, these gloves are actually really warm gloves. So this kind of glove, this type of glove, is good for using in the winter. So I would say in a lot of situations, type and kind in general conversation can be used interchangeably. I'm trying to think though, because kind actually also means to be nice to someone. So you'll want to make sure that you don't confuse those two. So that was a couple of examples of how they mean the same thing. Let's see here. David from China. Hello, David. It's Saturday today. Today is Saturday. Is there any difference? No. I could say today is Saturday. It's Saturday today. I could say it's Saturday. I could say Today is Saturday. Yes, they all mean the same thing. Yes, for sure. The most common one, though, is probably to say it's Saturday today. So let's see. Just checking something. Let me clean up my questions here. Let's see. Saeed has the next. Saeed says, when I was a child, I would ride my bike. Is my sentence correct? Yes, very much so. When I was a child, I would ride my bike too. So you can see that it's a conditional form, I would ride my bike, but it actually just means that you rode your bike. So you could say, when I was a child, I rode my bike. Totally grammatically correct. You can also say, when I was a child, I would ride my bike. They're totally both exactly correct. No problems there. Let's see here. Next, Jonathan says, I like playing soccer. Awesome. Why do we have to use ing in this kind of phrase? I think because you are expressing something that you like or love, and then you need to use the ing form of the verb after that because you're expressing an opinion. So I like drinking tea. I can also say I like to drink tea. In your example, you said, I like playing soccer. You could also say, I like to play soccer. The ing form, I think, just sounds better to us when we are talking. So I like wearing gloves in the winter. I don't often say I like to wear gloves in the winter, but that is correct as well. So it's choice, and I would say the ing form is actually quite common for sure. Let's see, next question. David from the USA. I think David's moving around. Wasn't David from China a minute ago? Must have been on a really fast airplane. David says, it's Sunday tomorrow. It's going to be Sunday. Is there any difference? So first of all, it would be it's going to be Sunday tomorrow. Let's make sure we have the contraction it's, which is it is. It's going to be Sunday tomorrow. It's Sunday tomorrow. Both work. The first sentence is a little more free and a little bit slangy, okay? Because the most correct way to say that would be, it is going to be Sunday tomorrow, but we would definitely say it's Sunday tomorrow. We really shorten it up. We really compress that sentence. Let me see here. Next question. Oh yes, this is a good one. This is from Castillo Lima. Do you always say, I will have something done when you are not going to do it yourself? For instance, I will have my house painted. I will have my car fixed. Yes, that is exactly how you would say that. Like the other day, my tractor wouldn't start. And so I had my tractor fixed. That means that a person came and fixed my tractor. My one van needs a new windshield wiper. So I will have the mechanic put a new one on next week. So when you say that you will have something done, like a specific task, it means that you are paying someone else to do it, or someone else is going to do it for you. So another good example would be, let me see here. Last summer, we had someone bale our hay on the farm. And so you can hear in that sentence, we had someone do it for us. So that was a good question, by the way. Norma, let's see here. Norma says, hello, Bob. Hello, Norma. I have doubts about the use of the word yet. For example, can I say that I haven't been to Europe yet? Yes. So I haven't been to Australia yet. So I could say I haven't been to Australia. Or I could say I haven't been to Australia yet. The second sentence means that I plan to go to Australia someday. Okay? When you add the yet to the end, it means that you will most likely do that thing. So I haven't put my gloves on yet because it's not cold enough. But as the weather gets a little colder, as the temperature drops, I might put my gloves on. If I was to say I haven't put my gloves on, there's no indication that I might put them on later. So, hey folks, some questions popping up in the chat. Please remember that if you have a question, use the link from Todd to ask it. I'm just going to pause to say hi. I'm Bob the Canadian. You are watching a live lesson with me right now, practicing and learning your English. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button over there and give me a thumbs up if you are enjoying this little lesson. And then just a reminder that this video is available tomorrow with subtitles. Sometimes some of you will listen to parts of the video again to practice or to go over parts that you had trouble understanding. And the subtitles tomorrow can really help with that. Let's move on to the next question. Let's see here. That's from Tao. This question comes up once in a while. Tao says, I love your English lessons very much. Thank you. My question is, can you teach French lessons too? Thanks. So the reason I don't teach French on YouTube is because even though, notice I used even though, remember we went over that, even though I speak French, I am not a native French speaker. So I do have an accent when I speak French. So to me, it makes more sense for you to learn French from someone who is a native French speaker. I am a French teacher, though. I know in the classroom every day I do teach French, but I think that in the ideal world, everyone would learn a language from a native speaker. So that's why I don't do a French channel, and I probably won't do a French channel. Let's see here. Saeed has the next question. If I was to say, you just said that, is it correct? Examples using this structure, please. Yeah. So I think I just said that, didn't I? If you say that someone just did something, it means they did it in the last few minutes. So for instance, I just held my gloves up a few minutes ago. I just said, even though, I used the phrase even though in a sentence. I just said that again. So yes, that would be a great way, Saeed, to do that. Andre has the next question. Could you explain what is the meaning of the word mainstream? So mainstream is anything that is current, anything that is popular, anything that most people will watch. So mainstream America will watch most television shows at 8 o'clock. So the most appealing, or the shows that have the most appeal to everyone, they show at around 8 o'clock at night because mainstream America will watch it. That means most Americans, no matter what their background is. Paul John Stevenson says, hi Bob, how are you today? I am doing good today. Thanks for asking, by the way, that's very nice of you. I'm doing good. I have a little bit of a sore throat still. I've been fighting this for a few weeks now, but I'm not letting it stop me. I am resting my throat as much as I can, but I feel good. The flower farm, by the way, is pretty much done. So Jen and I are less busy now. That is a really nice thing. Dalton, let's see. Dalton says, Dalton Dantis, hi Bob, when should I use will and going to? Brazil loves you, thanks. Well, I love Brazil as well, and every other country out there. It's tricky. We use both, and we use them interchangeably. I will take a drink of my tea right now. I am going to take a drink of my tea right now. My feeling is that we use going to a lot more. You know, I'm going to do a live stream next Friday. I'm going to have a new video up on Tuesday. But in the end, you can use either. They work interchangeably. I think a long time ago, they reference slightly different periods of time in the future, but not anymore. Next question is from Rafat says, Ibrahim, I am a computer science engineer. Very cool. I am Kurdish from Syria, and I would like to travel to Canada, and I like the English language. I am eager to work and live in Canada. So, Rifat, I often let people know that if you go to Google and you search how to work in Canada, or how to immigrate to Canada, or how to get a work permit in Canada, there is a really good Canadian government website that will tell you how to start that process, and that's where you should go. Let's see here. Kelvin says, what word do the Americans use for fall or autumn? So in Canada, we say that this is the season of fall or autumn. I'm going to write both of them in here. By the way, I did do a video on this last Tuesday. You should go watch it. And in America, they use those two words as well. I think the word fall, the season to call the season fall is a little more popular now, but definitely both words can be used, yes. David from the USA says, I saw my friend leaving. I saw my friend leaving. Wait a second. I saw my friend leaving. I saw my friend leaving. Any difference? Actually, they look, to me, they look like the same sentence, David. I saw my friend leaving. I saw my friend leaving. You could say this. I saw my friend leave. And you can say, I saw my friend leaving. Those two sentences are totally correct, and they mean the same thing. And I think that's probably what you meant. That would be my guess. Let's see here. Tim from Korea says, or Tina, sorry. Hi, Tina. Sorry, I got your name wrong. Tina from Korea says, what do the February cranks and the winter grumpies mean? Well, if you live in a country that has winter, especially if you live in a country that has a long winter, and you're in the northern hemisphere, the month of February, notice I don't say February, we say February, is kind of not a fun month. We're inside a lot, it's really cold outside, and so you tend to get a little bit cranky in February. And sometimes in the winter, people get a little bit grumpy as well. Let's see. Saeed says, I'm going to the doctor's. So it would be the doctor's, Saeed. I'm going to the, let me get this right, to the doctor's. And I think we have an apostrophe S because we should be saying I'm going to the doctor's office. Here is the most correct version. I'm going to the doctor's office. That is probably what the person is saying, and they have just shortened the sentence. They've compressed it a little bit. So let's see. Next question. Rustem from Kazakhstan says, hello, Bob. Thank you. What could one use instead of the word during? So during the live stream, I drink tea. When I'm doing the live stream, I drink tea. I drink tea while doing the live stream. There's 3 different ways to kind of express the same thing. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. David, USA. I love your questions, David, by the way. There is 20 cents on the table. There are 20 cents on the table, which is correct. You could use both, but we probably would use the first one, which is actually a little bit incorrect. I would probably say there is 20 cents on the table. Because there's more than 1 cent, though, I probably should say there are. But definitely there's 20 cents on the table. Let me speed up a little bit here. See if I can get through a bunch of questions quick. Omar says, thank you, Bob, for your lessons. I have one question. Do you see that by memorizing some text is a good way to improve English? I think everything that you do is a good way to improve your English. Here's what I mean by that. If you dedicate 1 hour a day to learning English, and if during part of that hour you memorize some things, that's awesome. What you shouldn't do is only memorize things, okay? You should divide that hour up, and you should spend some time. Everyone's gonna just get a little bit bored while I say, split the hour up, memorize some vocabulary words, do some reading, some writing, some listening, speaking. So split that hour into 5 blocks and do all of those things. Let's see here. Doreen from Taiwan has the next question. Hi, Bob. Thanks for your teaching. My other question is, we are off for a great day. What is this off? Why do we have this word off? How many meanings does off have? It has a lot. And when we start using phrasal verbs and prepositional phrases, we use it in a lot of places. But when you are off for a great day, it means you are leaving. So I could say, Jen and I are leaving for a small trip tomorrow, or I could say, Jen and I are off on a small trip tomorrow. So the word off in English has so many different meanings and connotations. You just kind of have to work with us and learn as much as you can. Let's see here. Jesse the Canadian. Jesse the Canadian. Hi, Bob the Canadian. What's up? My question is, what is the best way to crack the reading portion of the IELTS? So I recommend It costs money, but I recommend you buy an IELTS study package off of Amazon or go to your local bookstore. If you are preparing for that test, you can watch a lot of YouTube videos to get you ready, but for the reading and writing portion, I highly recommend that you buy an IELTS practice kit, which will have materials in it where you can do practice versions of the exam. So go on Amazon, go to your local bookstore and buy one. I know it costs money, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Luis from Brazil. Bob, good evening. Do you know how many different accents of English there are in Canada? Well, there's at least 2, because people from Eastern Canada, in particular from Newfoundland, have a very unique accent. And people in Ontario and to the west, I think we all sound pretty similar, although someone might disagree with me from another part of Canada. Diego, that's the great question. It's always a mystery. Diego says, hello, Bob. How old are you? I am almost 50 years old. That's how I answered that question. Some of you know how old I am because I think I mentioned it in one video, but Diego, I don't often talk about how old I am, but I am almost 50. I am in my late 40s. In one video, I said I was in my late 50s. I'm not in my late 50s. I am in my late 40s, but I usually don't say how old I am, so it's for you guys to figure out. Let me get the next question here from Andrew. Andrew says, Bob, hello, Andrew. Explain the difference, please, or explain, please, the difference between probably, maybe, possibly, perhaps. Okay, so I'm probably going to drink tea during my live stream. Maybe I'll drink tea during my live stream. I might possibly drink tea during my live stream. And perhaps if I'm thirsty, I will drink tea during my live stream. So those in that situation all mean the same thing, and generally they do. Of all of those, we probably use the word probably the most. I just used it. Did you hear that? We probably use the word probably the most, and maybe. Possibly and perhaps are a little more formal. We use them, but not as often. B says, B, I love your English lesson. Can you teach French too? Thank you. So sorry, I am not a native French speaker. I make lots of mistakes when I speak French. So it is better for me, even though I speak French, it's better for me to stick with teaching English. Let's see here. Andre Louise. Hey, this is great. Yes. Andre Louise says, hi from Rio de Janeiro. Hello. Speaking in front of the mirror, is this a good way to practice and to improve English? Yes. You know, people think that you need, in order to practice speaking, you need to talk to someone. And that is good. But sometimes it's just a good idea to practice. And sometimes if you practice in front of a mirror, you can see if you're forming your mouth correctly. And sometimes it can help you pronounce words better, because when you watch TV, like you'll see someone say a certain word. Don't worry, the internet's not messing up. That was just me. And you can see how their mouth is formed. So Justin Bieber in the chat, Justin Bieber, could you maybe stop asking the same question over and over again? You're giving Todd a lot of work. And if you have a question, please, Justin Bieber, use the form to answer that. Use the form, please. Otherwise, Justin, you won't be able to talk in the chat. Sorry. Let's see here. Yes, speaking in front of a mirror is a great way to practice. Manpreet Singh says, how can I get high score in IELTS reading and speaking modules? So the reading module is fairly straightforward. You need to, like I said earlier, buy a practice kit, buy practice materials, or find practice materials that will let you do a pretend version of the test. The speaking part, though, I just recommend, if you are serious about getting a good score on the IELTS speaking or the TOEFL speaking, that you hire someone on a website like Preply. There's a link way down in the description to a website called Preply. Sometimes you need to spend a little bit of money to practice part of your English. You can do a lot of reading, writing, and listening using the internet, but with speaking, especially when preparing for an exam, it's sometimes worthwhile to hire someone. So try to do that. Diego has the next question. Diego says, hi Bob, which countries have you traveled to? I am Brazilian and I like Canada a lot. I have been to the United States, and I have been to South Africa, and I have been to the airport in France, in Paris. That is it. I think that's it. Yes, I've been to many places in Canada. I've been to many places in the United States, and that's it. And I'm not going to tell you which country I want to visit next, but it will be a country that speaks French. So one of the many countries that speak French. Louise. Bob, when do I use the phrasal verbs burn out or burn off? So when you burn out, it means that you run out of energy. So sometimes people burn out at work. They work really long hours and they get physically tired, but they also get mentally tired. And we say that that's burnout. So they're burning out at work. When you burn off, like if you go running, you burn off fat, okay? When kids play outside, they burn off energy. So they get rid of it. So that's the difference between the two. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me see here. Maxime, Ukraine, Odessa, is there a difference in the sound? Okay, there's a spelling mistake here. I think you're saying month and mouth. I think those are the two words you might be asking about. So month and mouth, and then months and mouths. Isn't that weird? So month and mouth, and then months, really hard to say even for English speakers, and mouths. So the word mouth, when it's plural, really changes the sound quite a bit there. And then, let's see here. Next question from Selena. Question is, hi Bob, when you ask somebody or request something using would you please or could you please, which one is better? You can use either. You could say, excuse me, would you please pass me the salt? Or could you please pass me the salt? We would most likely use could in English. But when you're asking for something, you always say, I would like. So if you're ordering in a restaurant, you would say, oh, I would like to order the extra large Coca-Cola or something like that. By the way, this video is not sponsored by Coca-Cola, just so you know. Whoa, I'm getting a little behind on the questions, people. Sorry about that. Let me clean up my question sheet here, and we will move on. Let's see here. Rustam says from Kazakhstan. Let me paste this in. Rustam from Kazakhstan says, hello, Bob. Thank you for the good job. What could one use instead of the word during? I think I answered that one, Rustam. You could use while and when a little bit. That would help. Oh yeah, here's Susumu has the same question. The pronunciation of these plural forms, clothes and months. So I wear clothes. That's kind of... And then there are many months. You guys are making me say months a lot in the year. Months is a hard word for even English speakers to say. Probably because I'm not speaking as fast as I normally would. Like, a bunch of months ago, months. So I really, I really mush that word up, don't I? A number of months ago, months. Yeah, my tongue is in a weird spot when I say that. Hopefully that helps. Months ago. Let's see here. Esty says, Esty has the next question here. Hello, Bob. Is it correct to say I send you greetings and hugs, or is it odd? Not necessarily. The hug part might seem odd if you don't know someone well. Like if you were to say, great lesson, Bob, hugs and kisses from Esty. Because I don't know you very well, that might sound odd. But if you were talking to a friend or your sister and you just said, have a good night, hugs and kisses from Esty, that would sound pretty normal. When you say, I send you greetings, that does sound really formal. It's not incorrect, but you would probably say something like, hello from Canada. That would probably be a good way to say that one. I might run out of tea tonight. That would be kind of interesting. Let's see here. Sukjai from Thailand. Sukjai from Thailand says, "Hi Bob, he's one of a kind." Okay, he's one of a kind. That's a correction there. What does it mean? It means there's no other person like that person. So if this glove was one of a kind, it would mean that there's no other glove in the world like this glove. And if I was to say that Bob the Canadian is one of a kind, it means there's no other person in the world like me. And we usually use it for people. That's what makes the most sense. Let's see here. Paul says, "Hi Bob, how are you doing today?" I'm doing good, Paul. I hope you are having a good day as well. My question is, what is the difference between these words? Big, huge, large, enormous, and tremendous. So first of all, let's take the word tremendous out, okay? If I said he did a tremendous job, it means that he did a good job. And it's different than the other ones, which all are size. But generally, big is smaller than huge, is smaller than, no, actually I would say large, and then huge, and then enormous. So they all mean big. But if I was to say I caught a big fish, or I caught a large fish, probably the same size. If I say I caught a huge fish, it's probably bigger. If I say I caught an enormous fish, it's probably bigger yet. But the differences are really up to the speaker. But that's how I would say it. If someone said, "Oh, did you catch any fish?" "Oh, I caught a big fish. I caught a pretty large fish. I caught an enormous fish." That's how I would say it. Let me clean up my questions here, everybody. And then we will get to the next one. Let's see here. Saeed. Follow up to the last question. I meant to say, give us examples using the structure "if I was to." So if I was to go out tonight, I would probably not have a good time because I'm tired. So notice the structure of that sentence. I'm setting up something that might happen. If I was to eat too much, I would probably feel sick. If I was to run for more than 5 minutes, I would probably have a hard time breathing. So the "if I was" element sets up a possible thing that might happen and then follows up with the result of that. So Saeed, hopefully that helped. Let's see. Alex. Not sure if I'm going to have a good answer here, Alex. I want to know, why do you have to add ing to the verb when you use the conjunction "for" before? And if is it in all cases? Example. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for giving. Thanks for being here. Thanks for. I think in that phrase, if you say thanks for voting. We had an election in Canada, by the way. I think in that case, you do have to use the ing. You could say thanks for your vote, which is kind of using the noun. But yeah, I don't know the exact rule there, Alex, but I think if you're using thanks for, you definitely need the ing form of the verb afterwards. Let's see. I'm not sure I can explain this very well, Louise. Some Americans said to me that even though is used to give more emphasis to two opposite ideas or something like that. Is that correct? Possibly. It's kind of a connecting phrase. You know, I went to the gym even though I was tired. So we have the action of going to the gym, and then this thing that might have prevented me from going to the gym, but it didn't. So even though I was tired, I went to the gym, or I went to the gym even though I was tired, or I ate the dessert even though I wasn't hungry. Those are two good examples. Diego. Hi, Bob. Do people use run over a lot? So run over has kind of two meanings. Like you can, this is past tense. I ran over a pop can with my car. Or people tend to run me over when, now that's probably a bad example. Let's ignore that. People can run you over as well, not physically. Like people can be, if you're someone who doesn't stand up for yourself, you can get run over by someone, not by a car, but by a person who is quite aggressive. Let's see here. Tao says, can you make a YouTube video about the life of immigrants in Canada? Thank you. I might. I'll try. Winter is here, so I have a little bit more time on my hands to do other projects. So maybe I'll see if I can find a place where I could meet with people who have immigrated to Canada and make a short video. Andre Louise, is there any difference between into and into? So I don't actually know how to answer that. But I pour water into a glass. I get into a car. I'm going to have to look that one up. Leave me a question in the comments about that one, Andre Louise, so that I remember it. And I will do some research on that one. I don't often split them up. And someone will probably know the answer in the chat. So watch the chat. And someone will probably let you know. Let's see here. Vicky. Hi, Bob. Hi, Vicky. My name is Vicky. I'm from China. Right now I live in Canada. Cool. Very cool. Welcome. Can I say I like to running the English every day? No. I would say I'd like to study English every day. I like to use English every day. I'm not sure if that's what you mean, but running, and that doesn't, you could say, let's see here. I like to go running every day, but that takes out the word English. So not quite sure. Sorry, Vicky, not quite sure how to answer that. Next question from Endo. What's the difference between advise and advice? So when I advise someone, I'm typing here, I usually give them good advice. How's that? So if someone comes to me for some, like they have some questions and they want my advice, I usually advise them. Okay, so that's the difference there. Hopefully that makes some sense. When I advise someone, I usually give them good advice. Sometimes I give people bad advice though. I have to make sure I don't do that. Here we go. Oh, that's the same question. Shakira. Hi, Shakira. Shakira says, hi, everyone. I'm in Canada 6 weeks. How can I speak English soon? You need to get out and meet people, and you need to talk to them. You need to go to your local community center and join a club. You need to do everything you can to be in public places where you can have conversations with people. So that's what I would do for sure, Shakira. If you're in Canada, you should be able to find lots of things to do, especially in the winter. There's probably clubs where people play cards. There's probably clubs where people do yoga. You probably could find lots of places to go. Go to your local community center, and they will have a board with a whole bunch of information for you on that. Let's see here. Asido says, hi, Bob, can you tell me application or website that can use to practice conversation? So the closest thing I know is Duolingo is a great place to practice, even though it's just you talking in the computer. Otherwise, I would say with conversation, try preply.com. You will have to pay money, okay? There is a link down in the description too, by the way. It's just hard to practice conversation without a person. You can do a lot, but eventually you do need to find a real person. Let's see, Fabio says, I'm from Brazil and I would like to know what's the difference between hope and hopefully. Well, you have hope. Hope is the noun. And hopefully is used to modify the verb. So you would say things like, hopefully I can go to work on Monday. I hope I can go to work on Monday. So you see those two examples. Hopefully I will be able to eat some pie after this live stream. Or I hope I will be able to eat some pie after this live stream. Both those sentences mean the same. It's just a choice in how you express yourself. Let's see. Casio Lima says, when to use how to in answers. Example, I know how to drive. Can I say I learned to drive, or do I have to say I learned how to drive? So we get a little bit free with our language sometimes. So I can say I learned how to drive. I can say I learned to drive, or let's see here. I learned, yeah, those would be driving. My last example isn't really good. So Visca Red says, Hello Talk is a good app for practicing English, so check into that. That's another example. Let's get to the next question. Question here, this is a terminology I'm not familiar with, Eduardo. How could I use cleft sentences properly? So I don't know what cleft sentences are. We're going to do a quick check here because it might just have a different name. Oh, I see. It's money we want. It was today that I saw him. That was, yeah, so I'm not familiar enough, Eduardo, with what cleft sentences are. So leave a question in the comments. I'll try to get to that tomorrow. I think it has a different name in Canadian English. It could be phrasal clauses or something like that. So I'll have to look into that. Let's see here. Edson has the next question. Tiago Mendes says, Bob is the best teacher around the world. Thank you, Tiago. Thank you very much. Edson says, hey, Bob, I'm from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Hope you are okay. What is the difference between what do you got and what do you have? Got or have? So got is a little more slang. So how much do you got? So that's a very slangy question. How much do you have would be the correct way to say it. Actually, yes. So how much you got? Like, it's a very slangy way to say it. Like, hey, I need some money. How much do you got? You normally would say, how much do you have? So the got one is very common, but it's a little more slang. Let's see. Tina from Korea says, if I visit Canada, can I see you in person? I am very touched by your lessons. I appreciate that, Tina. But at this point in time, I don't meet people personally when they come to Canada to visit. Someday, maybe I will have a meetup, but I have not planned to do anything like that yet. And so I will let all of my subscribers know if I ever do have a meetup. A meetup is where you go to a public place and people can come and see you. I have been to a couple meetups to see other YouTubers. So Tina, at this point in time, no. Sorry, but if I do a meetup, if you're subscribed, I will let you know. Which reminds me, if you are new here, of the 477 people watching, you should click that subscribe button, and a thumbs up is always appreciated if my lessons are helping you. Let's see here. Doreen from Taiwan says, can I use spontaneous to describe someone's personality? Yes, very much so. One of my children is very spontaneous. When you are spontaneous, you do things as soon as you think about them. Like, oh, I want a bowl of cereal. Boom, they go eat a bowl of cereal. I want to go jump up and down on the couch. Boom, they go jump up and down on the couch. So spontaneous is a great way to describe someone who does that. MCK says, hey, Bob, how can we know which words to memorize? Like, where can we find it? I think that with English, you should just look at, beginner lessons, English for everyday life. That is the first place you should start. So you should learn all of the words for the things in your home, all of the words for moving about in the world, like all of your, like car, vocabulary and those kinds of things. You should learn all of the vocabulary for the kind of work you do, and learn food, and just the basics is where you should start. That's as much information as I can give you. Paul Rodriguez says, do you give classes on Cambly? I do not give one-to-one classes. Many people have asked me to start doing one-to-one Skype sessions, but I still have a full-time job and I love my job. So I have no plans at this point to work less so that I can do more online teaching. I do plan to do live streams twice a week and make a video for you guys, but that is it. By the way, if you didn't know, I am on TikTok. Did you know that? I have a fairly popular TikTok channel right now. If you go on TikTok and search Bob the Canadian, you'll find me. I think most of you don't have TikTok though. Excuse me. But that's something new I started, by the way, if you like little short lessons. My last video on TikTok actually got lots of views. I was surprised. Let's see here. Let me clean up my questions. We'll finish up some of these things. Indira says, what is the best way to begin to understand American English better? Watch American television and watch American movies. Be very, very specific in your television choices and your movie choices. Make sure that you are watching shows where people are speaking in the accent that you most want to learn. As you become more advanced, you can watch other shows as well. And watch Canadian English as well. We're very, very close to the Americans. Ajne says, how do you pronounce the R sound in French? Do you mean me, Ajne? Because I pronounce it wrong. I'm learning German and it has the same R sound. I can't pronounce it. I can pronounce the R of English. So, rouge. See, I really mess it up, right? The R sound in French is very difficult, but ceci, voici, c'est quelque chose qui est rouge. My French listeners, you can now tell me that I pronounce my R's really badly, but it's hard, Ajne. It's a difficult sound to make. Your language, you probably don't use that R sound, and I don't either, so it's hard to try and form it. Let's see here. Next question. By the way, hi, Ajne. It's good to see you again. Lorena says, hi, Bob. I am Lorena from Spain. Thank you for all you do. I have a doubt about the pronunciation between would and would. Could you tell me the difference? There is no difference. So I would like to go chop some wood. I would like to go chop some wood. Same pronunciation right across. No problem there. Let's see here. I think I did this question already, so I'm just going to remove that one. And Skiff has the next question. Skiff says, what's the difference between I didn't think and I haven't thought? I didn't think that would be a problem. I haven't thought of the answer. So they are different, okay? When I say I didn't think, it means that I forgot to plan for something. So a couple of weeks ago, I didn't think it would get dark fast during my live stream. So that's different than saying I haven't thought of a solution to that problem. They're very different. So let me just give you two distinct examples. I didn't think I would run out of tea tonight. I didn't think I would, but I'm almost out. I'm going to drink a little more. Or here's a completely different example. I haven't thought about whether I like these gloves. Did you notice these gloves are different? I guess I got different gloves. So anyways, I haven't thought about that yet. Someday I will. Another question about, oh yes, here's a good one. Let's flip this one up. Zara Teague from Iranian says, hello teacher. Oh, it should say Zara the Iranian. That's cool. I like that name. Hello teacher, how is Jen and her beautiful flower farm? So it is very cold here in Canada. We have had frost 3 times, maybe 4. So all of the flowers are now dead, and we have put all of the ground we have cultivated, and we are ready for winter. So we are done flower farming for this year, and it's time for Jen to relax for a few months until she gets started again. Let's see here. We'll go here. David from the USA says, can you upload one of your lessons from your school? Notice it's from your school. When you are teaching your class. I actually can't because when I am teaching my class, I can't have students in the video. And also what I do at work is not my property. So I can't record myself and put it online. The school would have to do that. So it's a little tricky how that works. Let's see here. Omid has a pronunciation question, but I'm going to skip that one, Omid. It's a challenge to do that one. Let me just find an example for you. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah. You're asking about the T flap sound, and that's a difficult thing to explain in a video. It's probably best to find someone who can show you in person where the tongue goes in your mouth to do that sound. Paul says, what's the difference between the pronunciation of the words week and week? They are the same. Last week, I felt weak. There we go. Last week I felt weak. They mean the same, or sorry, they're pronounced the same. They have different meanings, of course. Zabby, why don't you answer my question, dear Bob? Zabby, if you put the question in the form, and if I have time, I will answer it. But there are many, many questions that I need to go through yet. I'm not ignoring you, Zabby, but continuing to ask why I'm not answering your question is, there are a lot of questions, Zabby. There are 478 people watching, so it becomes a challenge, okay? So hopefully your question, you got it into the form earlier, but I don't see one there, so apparently you don't have a question in the form. So make sure you ask it in the form, but the chance of me answering it tonight is very, very slim. Shagufta says, Shagufta, I've done many courses for fluency speaking in English almost for 12 years till now, but whenever I want to speak, I'm stuck or I forget what I should do. I think that's just nerves. You can be quite nervous to speak another language. So I would just encourage you to keep practicing, okay? So find as many times as you can to practice the English language so that you get a little bit better at it. Susumu says, thank you for answering pronunciation on months and close question. Please go see a doctor soon for your throat to make sure that nothing is bad just in case, and take care of your body. I will do that, Susumu. Thank you for that. Thank you for your concern as well. I will do what I can. It is the time of year, though, in Canada where we tend to get a sore throat once in a while, and it's not uncommon at all. Selena says, hi, Bob again. How to use in at, for example, in school or at school. The train arrived in Toronto or arrived at Toronto. Well, that's a challenge because at school I teach classes, but the kids are in school. So there's a slight difference there. Like when you're at school, you're physically in the building. But when you're in school, it means that you're a student. So there's a little bit of a difference there. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. There's just a little sound over there. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe a mouse or something like that. Let's see here. Clayton from Brazil says, hi, Bob. When do I say, for example, I will warm up my relationship? The using up, it can be like a participle sentence. Cheers. Well, you wouldn't warm up a relationship, but if my tea was cold, I could warm up my tea. That would mean I'm making it warmer than it is. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, the flu is coming, definitely, Visca. I got my flu shot the other day, though. I got a needle. I got vaccinated against the flu shot. So a couple more questions here. Sorry, I'm skipping over questions kind of fast. Sorry about that. Bruno from Itaborai says, hi, Bob. I love your videos. Thank you, Bruno. How can I practice spoken English with having no money to pay a teacher? That is difficult. It is very difficult. I don't know what to say other than you can have as many pretend conversations as you can. If you have a phone, you can try calling different places and talking to people randomly. But at a certain point, you do need to pay people. I think that's how it goes. Excuse me. Zabby says, you have pronounced my name exactly like a native Iranian. Well done. Thanks, Zabby. Hopefully I keep pronouncing people's names correctly. Let's see here. Bob and Todd. Evaldo says, Bob and Todd, what inspires you guys to teach English to the world? Thanks for your amazing job. Well, I'll answer that for me. I know Todd does this as a favor for me, so I've asked Todd to do this, so I appreciate that he takes the time to do it. What motivates me, inspires me to do it is I love technology. Like I've always loved computers and I love the internet, and I am a teacher. I have taught for almost 24 years now. It's getting a little crazy. Since 1997, I think I've been teaching. That's a long time. So I just like teaching and I like technology, and I started making videos for fun, and I was surprised at all the people that watched it, so I kept making them. So it's just something that that's nice to do. I will be honest, because it's on YouTube, when the advertisements run, I do make a little bit of money. I don't make nearly as much money as people think I make though. So it is nice to know that when I make a video, YouTube does give me a little bit of money, enough money to buy my kids a pizza once in a while. So that's nice. But mostly I do this because it just fascinates me and I like helping people. I've always liked helping people. I'm going to say though that I think we are done, everybody. It's been 1 hour. I probably should stop. Thank you. I didn't get to all the questions, but thanks for watching. If you have not yet subscribed, please do click the subscribe button down there. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I will be doing another live lesson next Friday. So live lesson next Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there will be a new video this coming Tuesday as well. Don't forget to come back tomorrow and watch this lesson again with subtitles on if you need them. I know that some of you like to re-watch the entire video or just play it in the background. That's always a good idea for your listening practice. To listen to something 2 times is always good. But if there were parts of the video, if you were taking notes, if there were parts of the video you didn't understand, please do come back and watch them. I'm just going to say bye to everyone in the chat. Bye, everyone. Have a good night. This was fun. I hope you were able to learn a bit more English. Thanks for all the questions. Sorry that I didn't get a chance to answer them all. Yeah, I feel bad about that. Sorry that I didn't get a chance to answer them all, but I'll just wave to you guys. I'm just gonna wait till I see the wave down here. I'm Bob the Canadian. You're learning just a little bit more English with Bob the Canadian. It has been really fun. Oh, I should thank Todd. Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Todd. Thanks. I wonder if Free is still here. Free, yeah, Sean's still here. Thanks, Sean, for being here. By the way, guys, check out Sean's channel as well. If you go to Free 99 English on YouTube, he has some pretty cool videos that you should watch as well. Yes, I have Instagram. It's at ENG Bob the Canadian on Instagram. Yeah, I do a little short video every once in a while on Instagram. I think Monday through Friday, I do a little one. That's it. I feel like I'm running out of steam. I should push the red button soon. So anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to push the button.